Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about how to create a web form. So I have multiple different campaigns over here, and I'm just going to pick this one as an example. It's important that you start out right here with the correct campaign, because that's what the web form is going to be for. So we'll just again use this one, and then under web forms we're going to click on create new. Now there's a couple different styles of web forms that you can use. I'm not talking about designs, because there's a gazillion designs, and GetResponse has a ton of those, but style-wise, there's your basic default one, okay, which if you see right here, this is what we're looking at. And then there's also a custom one. So like as an example, if we go to this site, you'll see on the side here that this is customized with custom CSS, okay? And what's nice about this is if you're on a mobile responsive site, you'll see that it'll actually adjust to the size of the screen, okay? So a really nice element if you're focusing on having your sites be mobile responsive, which I would strongly suggest, because you're going to find that about half of the users online are on mobile devices and tablets and smartphones and all that good stuff. So in this video we're going to show you how to set up the standard opt-in form or web form, and then in another video we're also going to talk about how to customize it with CSS. So first thing is, when you set up your web form, you're going to want to determine what information you want to get from your visitors, like what's really important, as well as what other information you want to have on there, whether it's images or warnings or whatever. Now, what I personally teach my coaching students is to click on all of these things right here until all you have is email and the sign up button. Okay, the reason is, the less information that you ask for, the more people are going to say yes. And really all we need is their email address in order to get in touch with them. So if you are getting different advice in that, or you've split tested and you want to do something different, you can obviously leave any of these checked off. But if you wanted to, for instance, add their name, you would just check that button and it'll show up there. So for me personally, that's what I'm going to recommend. Now the next thing is the actual button itself, what you're going to put on there for text. So what I normally do is click here now. Okay, it's a direct action. It's telling them what to do. There's no question about what you want them to do. Now again, you can split test this to see if, you know, download now or get instant access or whatever will work better. Great, do it to it. But out of the gate, click here now works really good. So the next thing is, most of the web pages that these forms are going to be on are going to have a white background, and by default this default one has a light gray. So what you can do is you can come over here to where it says body in this drop down, then click on background, and then just drag this up till it's at the 100% white, and then click apply. The other thing you can do is you can make it transparent, but for this case I'm just going to make it white. So now that we've done that, we click on Save Web Form, and then we're going to go to the next tab, and this is our Settings tab. Now first thing we're going to do is we're going to name this. Now whenever you set up a web form on a web page, you always want to make sure that you're split testing things, so make that web form name something that's clear. So maybe it's a PLR gift as an example. Okay, now the next thing is confirmed opt-in. You want to leave this on off. We talked about that earlier in the campaign settings. Subscription via Facebook, you can leave this on if you'd like, but most of the time, 99% of the time, when you're using a web form on like a squeeze page, I leave this off. But again, to leave it on is completely up to you. I would just suggest leaving it off. Now for your thank you pages, instead of using a default thank you page, you always want to use a custom thank you page, because this is really a form of real estate for you for advertising. And if you simply send people to a blank page with a get response that says thanks, check your email, then you're missing out. And you're missing out on two opportunities. One is obviously financially. You could have another offer on that thank you page, something to upgrade, something to complement, whatever, special discount. But the other thing is branding. So whether it's having your picture on there of you doing something recreational that's fun, that's going to help them relate to you, or a video where you can talk to them and say, here's what you should expect, or here's what your next steps are. All those things help build a relationship with your customer. So in this case, what I do is mikecowles.com/thanks. And there's a couple different thank you pages that you're going to want to set up. One of them is going to be just a default one where it just says, thanks for taking me up on my offer. You should get an email in the next few minutes. If you don't see my email, please check your spam folder. And if you run into any challenges, contact me here. Okay, that's like your default one, and you can use that with sales that you've made, people opting in, whatever. It's a nice default thank you page that you don't have to create over and over again. And the other one is one where it's a thank you page, but it's also some type of an upsell or specific directions. Maybe it's register for the webinar or check out this special offer, whatever that is. So in this case, we're just going to leave it like that. Click on Save Web Form, and then we're going to click on Next Step. Now, there's two different ways to install this form, and the shorter, simpler one is this JavaScript code, and you would simply copy and paste this onto your site. Now, the other option is show HTML code, and that's a big, long, plethora of stuff. So, and honestly, there's issues that come up when you use the HTML one as far as it formatting right. So I don't suggest you use that one. Now, having said that, if you simply copy this JavaScript code onto an HTML page, okay, like a standard website, then it'll work fine. However, if you put it on a WordPress blog, then, and I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes, then what'll happen is it'll show up fine until you make an edit to that page, and then because of a bug in WordPress, it'll actually disappear. So your form will be gone. So I'm going to show you a workaround for that in the next video, but I want to keep these videos short and separate so that you can come back to them when you need to. So by simply copying and pasting this code onto an HTML page, okay, the form will show up great. In the next video, we're going to show you how to do this with WordPress and the great little workaround that I figured out.